Alright class, welcome back. This is a follow-up video to the properties of matter. So this time we're going to look at changes of matter. So I'm just going to ask that you do the same thing as last video, where you pause at the beginning of the slide once everything is up so you can see everything, and then I can kind of talk about it. Alright, here we go. So last time we talked about the fact that there were quantitative and qualitative properties. Quantitative involve measurements and qualitative do not involve measurements. There was also intensive versus extensive. Intensive are fixed properties. They cannot change. Extensive are variable. They can change based on the sample size. So the properties, we mentioned that physical properties do not change the composition. Remember, when we're talking about the composition, we're talking about the chemical formula. Okay, so anytime you see the word composition, that is the chemical formula. For water, think H2O. Every compound and every element has its own chemical formula. We're probably familiar with salt as well, NaCl. If the composition is not changing, then it is a physical property. If the composition is changing, then it's a chemical property, as well as a physical change and a chemical change. So one thing that we show in chemistry is a triangle to describe change. So if you see something like delta T, then we're talking about a change in temperature. If you see something like a delta small t, a change in time. So this delta is a symbol that you're going to see throughout the notes at times and throughout the school year. So this is just kind of telling you what this symbol means for a little chemistry shorthand. You can pause the video now. Alright, so physical change is the change that does not alter the composition. Physical changes can be reversible or irreversible. The reversible ones typically are your state changes, so a change in a solid, liquid, or gas. The irreversible could be a whole bunch of them, but let's just show the solid, liquid, and gas. So that's what we're talking about typically when we're talking about reversible physical changes. So boiling, melting, evaporating, condensation, all of those things are physical changes because they can go back and forth. Other physical changes would be dissolving, cutting, tearing, grinding, reshaping, really anything where you alter the substance and it is still the same chemical substance. For example, a piece of paper. You could rip in half, but it's still technically just paper. So that was a physical change. Now, dissolving is one that people tend to think is a chemical change, and I get it because you start off with some type of solid that you can see, and then when you put it in a solution, all of a sudden there's nothing there for you to see. So the dissolving process. We're going to use this molecule here as salt. So we have a sodium and a chlorine here. And then we have H2O, 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen. So if we take this salt and we dissolve it in this beaker of water, what's really happening? So let's get a blown up view so we can see the particle level diagram. If we look at the microscopic view, the particle level diagram, after the substance dissolves, you can see that there's still sodium chloride bonded together, and there's still water bonded together. The only difference is the attractions between these two atoms and these two molecules allows the water to kind of break apart the salt crystal. So we no longer can see the individual particles of salt. However, they are still there. And they are still intact. So, because the chemical formulas do not change, then it was a physical change. If we wanted to prove that it's a physical change, we could just evaporate the water off, and then we would be left with salt crystals. So dissolving is a physical change. You can pause the video here. This is a diagram that shows all of the phase changes. The phase changes are all physical changes. Now, one that is a little cut off here in the video, going back this way from liquid to gas, that is condensation. You could pause the video here. Alright, so a chemical change. A chemical change is going to alter the composition. So we will be changing the actual formula of the molecules. Another way that you can think of it, a chemical bond will involve, or a chemical change will involve making and breaking chemical bonds. So let's add that as well. Bonds are either made or broken during chemical changes. During a physical change, there is no change in the actual bonding structure. But in a chemical change, you have bonds being broken and bonds being formed. Now, with the chemical change, you have completely new properties, completely new physical and chemical properties. You can just change the physical properties and it's not technically a chemical change. But if you change the chemical properties, then it has to have been a chemical change. Some examples: burning, scorching, cooking, fermenting, decomposing. Another one is growing. So growing something is an interesting example. It's technically the same substance, right? Think of growing grass. However, there was a chemical process behind the growth in order to develop a new part of that plant. Digesting is also another chemical change. So every time you eat food, you're internalizing, you're breaking chemical bonds in your body, reforming chemical bonds to a new substance, typically one that will give you more energy. Chemical changes cannot be reversed. When we have the term chemical change, we're also talking about a chemical reaction. Here's an example of a chemical change. When you burn something, you have initially two hydrogens and two oxygens that are bonded together. When we burn it, we break the bonds between the oxygens and the hydrogens, and we reform new bonds to give us water. You can pause the video here. So this is an example of a chemical reaction and a chemical equation. Anytime you have a chemical change, you have the ability to show it using a chemical reaction and equation. So the equations are always set up so that the items on the left are the reactants. These are the chemicals that you start with. And when you're counting the reactants, you would not count individual atoms. Instead, I would say that this reaction has 1, 2 reactants. Now, another interesting thing in these chemical equations is they will often have symbolism to help you understand the reaction. These symbols here at the bottom tell you the state of matter. So we started with a solid reacting with a liquid. That's your reactants. And after the reaction occurred, after the chemical change occurred, we created a new solid and a new liquid. Notice that the chemical particles are no longer bonded together the same way on the reactants and the product side. You can really think about it as separating the two. This is what you started with. This is what you ended with. You broke chemical bonds to make new chemical bonds. and that is why it's a chemical change. You can pause the video now. These 5 signs, you can put a big star in your notebook for these. These are going to be used so often in post-lab questions that it's going to probably be on every lab. If there's a chemical change, you have to be able to cite one of these 5 things. So, if there is a change in temperature, that is a sign that it's a chemical reaction. Now there's an asterisk there because it's not always by itself a sign of a chemical reaction. If you physically change the temperature by turning the temperature up or down, then that's actually not a chemical change. But if the temperature changes because you mixed 2 chemicals, maybe it gets hotter or it gets colder, then that is a chemical change. Effervescence is the name that we use to describe when things are bubbling and giving off gases. The production of light, you can think of burning for that example. And number 5, the production of a precipitate. So a precipitate is when you have 2 liquid solutions. So you have 2 liquid reactants, and after they react, one of them could still be a liquid, but one of them is a solid. The solid is called a precipitate. And that you can think of like a vocab word. You can pause the video here. The last thing is the law of conservation. The law of conservation states that with any physical or chemical change, mass, matter, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. So what that really means is if you look at the masses for the reactants here and the products, the masses are identical before and after the chemical reaction. When we're talking about matter, we're talking about the number and types of atoms. So on the reactants, if you start with 5 carbons, in the products, you also have to have 5 carbons. And the same would go for energy. So mass, matter, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. So they have to remain constant throughout the physical or the chemical change. So that wraps up the discussion on physical chemical changes. There's going to be some practice that we do with this, and like I said, probably the most important slide here is this one, understanding the signs of a physical and chemical change. If you can cite these 5 after a change has occurred, one of them, then it's probably a chemical change.